Well, thank you. So let's dive in directly, and a few words about Vectron and the history of Vectron. The company is, for a technology company, quite old. It was started in 1990 by myself and my partner, Mr. Reckendorf, who was the software guy. I was for sales and strategy. Starting as a two-man band, basically, we were able to build the company into one of the largest suppliers of POS systems, cash register systems, for the hospitality, baker trade, and so on. We have about 250,000 installations that we did in over time, and we have been active in about 30 countries. Our sales model goes through dealers because we believe there is a lot of demand for local service, and that is done by our dealers. And with, at least in Germany, a market share of about 20 to 25% in hospitality and 35% in bakeries, we are still the market leading company. So we were able over all these years to defend the position that we have. We do have a main brand, Vectron, and two, let's say, smaller and cheaper brands called, one is called Duratec and one is called Postmatic, which is an iPad-based app. We have our own customer loyalty system, which is called Bonvito, but I will go into that a little bit later in a little bit deeper. So, yes, we are relatively well known in our business. I think if you walk around Germany and you look into hospitality, it won't take long before you find our systems. And so that's all well and good. But what is going to change in the future is the shift to the digital world, because we believe that the market is completely changing. 10 years ago, it was only the POS system, that was the computer in the store, that was the computer in the restaurant. And now, let's say, digital services are added to it. And it's a complete ecosystem that's developing, and that offers a lot of opportunities, because due to the fact that all transactions go through the cash register or are made at the cash register, it's still at the core of the ecosystem. And therefore, Vectron, we believe, is well positioned to take advantage of these huge opportunities. And they are indeed huge, because we can multiply the earnings per customer over the next few years. And that will be a total game changer for the business. And this is why we've been starting to develop our business to digital services. And we've been quite early with this, already in about 2011, we brought our first system to the market. So this is what we see here. What you see here in this overview picture is basically the ecosystem as we see it in the future. So there is the POS system at the core. And then, of course, there are local things like reports, dashboards, insights, AI-based data analytics, and so on. But there is also a lot of things around it, like payments, loyalty systems, ordering, reservations, and so on. And customer generation in general. So that all of these things are demanded by the customers, and all of these things will be delivered by us. And as I said, we haven't started yesterday. We have already started our first product, and I think we were very early to the market then, with our Bonvito system in 2011. And that system was basically geared towards our larger chain customers, because they were the ones that were early in demanding solutions like that. And it's a mainly customer card-based system that offers all the features that you see in this screen. So you can collect points, you can redeem coupons. There are several rebates and discounts built in. You can load and you can load money onto the card. There's a reservation built in, ordering system built in. But as I said, this is geared towards larger chain customers. But it has been quite successful. We have more than 5,000 stores using it, with about 8 million active customer cards. So that is quite a heavy system. But we've seen over the years that the pattern is changing, that not only the large customers are now looking into digital products, but also the smaller ones. So in 2019, we said or a little bit earlier, but it started to go to market in 2019. We said, well, we also have to develop systems for the small to mid-sized customers, because in hospitality in Germany, only 5% of the customers are actually chains. 95% are one, two, three stores. And therefore, it is clear that this is the vast majority of the market. So we said, well, Bonvito is quite a nice business, but there is about 20 times as much business out there with digital services if we look at the mid-size to small end of the market. So we said, well, we need to start with digital products for all those customers, and we need to start with some simple products. And this is what we did. In 2019, we brought our first entry-level product. We call it the digital package. And that digital package is basically a reporting tool, cloud storage of the data, because now the data is fiscal. It has to be stored for 10 years. So it's too dangerous to store it in the cash register. Therefore, we store it in the cloud. There's an upgrade contract service and so on. So this is an entry-level solution that we offer to all customers. And as you can see in the graphic on the right, quite a few of them have signed up for it, close to 20,000 already. And that's also a big change for us, because in the past, most of these cash register systems or POS systems in the field were a standalone system. Now they are all connected to our cloud. We know those customers. We have their names, addresses, email addresses, phone numbers, and so on. So we can now contact them to sell more digital services. And of course, this also bolsters our monthly recurring revenues, because in the past, with the POS system, it was mostly a one-off sale. You were selling a system once, and then the customers were using it for years, on average 7 years. And after 7 years, they maybe would buy another one. But with these services, they pay on a monthly basis, just like with Bonvito. And this is our entry-level system. Another product that we were quite successful with was payment, because we said, well, let's go the next step. So everybody needs reports and data storage. So payment is something that has also come up also in the pandemic. It has gained some speed. And we said, well, we also have to get into the payment solutions. So we can also offer the payment solutions to our customers integrated with our cash register systems, way better than having a separate system from a different supplier. And we have started this a little more than a year ago, and this is already quite successful. You can see that we have already more than 1,000 customers with Vectron. And at the moment, we're adding more than 100 a month. So that's already growing quite nicely. And this has also grown into quite a nice revenue stream for us. So this is another thing that we've started. And there's a lot more that we have on our list for the foreseeable future, like self-payment, for example, because now you're still calling somebody or going to the counter to pay with your credit card or with your iPhone. But in the future, you will be able to do that at the table by yourself. So you scan a QR code, you get your invoice, and you can pay with your PayPal or with your credit card or with your Apple Pay, and then just leave, or you can leave a tip. But this will be automatic, because we see now that one of the biggest problems in hospitality is that they don't have enough staff. We have a lot of stores that have 1 or 2 days in the week where they are closed because they don't have enough people. And this is something that will help them, because all of these things, like, where the waiter has to go back and forth to get the invoice, to cash in and get the credit card through the machine, all of that can be automated. And so this is something that is, I would say, still quite unusual in Germany. But if you go to the US, UK, and some of the Scandinavian markets, you see it quite often. And people have, come to love it, because, everybody knows in some cases in a restaurant, you ask for the bill, and it takes, for whatever reason, takes 10 minutes to get the bill. So I think especially for fast casual restaurants, this is a very important feature. Then we have the wide range of ordering, which becomes more and more of a point. In the pandemic, a lot of restaurants have seen we have to be on the internet. People have to be able to order from us. If we can't open the restaurant, at least we can have delivery turnover. And a lot of them turn to the typical platforms like Lieferando in Germany or Just Eat in the UK. And the problem with that is, of course, it does work, but it costs a lot of money. So now we get a lot of questions from restaurant owners that say, well, I have a lot of my customers that go through Lieferando or just eat because I have no other option. But I would like to have my own web shop on my website integrated with my cash register, so I can tell my customers to order there, and I can avoid the big fees. So that is something that's coming. So this is a part of it. This is point one here, web shops. So people can also pre-order. You already order your food or your bread or whatever from the bakery, and then you get a pickup number, and you can just go there and collect your food. And also, if somebody has a pizza store or pizza restaurant, you can order on their website, and you don't have to go through Lieferando. And a lot of them want to push their customers into that. So that is one thing. Once you have that web shop, there's also a growing demand, what we call in-house ordering. That means you can not only pay at your table, but you can also order by yourself with your smartphone. So you scan a QR code, and then you open up a little web shop where you can just say what you want, and the order is then automatically transferred into the cash register. So you also don't have to wait for a waiter. Everybody knows in larger restaurants, you're sitting in a beer garden for half an hour, nobody comes. So that's very frustrating for the guests, but it's also killing a lot of turnover for the hospitality owner. So for these people, it might be interesting to have an extra option that the customer can order the next round by themselves. And as we've seen before, also pay directly. So all of that creates extra turnover, but it also creates, or it also helps with staff shortages. Same with the kiosk solution. Everybody that has been to McDonald's or Burger King lately knows these screens where people can order by themselves. They're extremely successful, and now also our bakery chains are asking for these things. So in combination with self-payment, this is what we call the omni-channel ordering. So it's one web shop, but it's on your website. People can use it at the table, and they can also use it at the kiosk, and it's all integrated with payments, so that it becomes one ecosystem. And this is the next big thing that we are working on. We hope that we will have the first version, which should be in-house ordering towards the end of this year. But our idea now is to go to all these customers that we have won over the fiscalization of the last 2 years and add these products to their existing cash registers. Because right now, of course, with all the problems that the hospitality trade has and had, and with whatever things that might be coming, we believe that they need tools to get more turnover, save costs, and also get more customers in. And so they need online tools for marketing and for better operation of their whole business. And I think this is a crucial thing. And again, if you look at the US market, they are 5 to 10 years ahead of us. It is a total standard there, but it's now, I think, over the next few years, it will be also a standard in Germany and in the markets where we have a strong market presence. So therefore, I've already covered this. You should also be able to do pre-orders. We get these requests from our bakeries a lot that they want people to be able to order their bread and then just pick up the order without having to stand in line. The in-house ordering is what we see here, so that you can just scan a QR code, and then it opens up a web shop, and you can order the next round of beer and also pay it directly if you want. So that's happening. And of course, we have the kiosk systems, and all of that will be integrated into the cash register, because all of these orders, of course, will directly flow into the cash registers. And it's not like today, in a lot of cases, two separate systems, but it will be seamlessly integrated, which also means if you change a price in the cash register, it's automatically changed in all these web shops as well, which makes it much, much easier also for the restaurant owners to maintain these things. Because if you have to change a price in 4 different systems, it very quickly happens that you forget it, and then you have problems. So therefore, this makes a lot of sense. Wrong direction. We mentioned the big platforms like Lieferando. Of course, we will also have an interface to that, because I don't think we will not replace Lieferando, but there is the problem that I've just mentioned. If the Lieferando order comes in, it's not automatically in the cash register. You have to type it in again. It's basically coming in like an email, and then somebody has to take that order and type it into the cash register that's there, whatever make it is. And then, of course, there will be orders forgotten. There will be typos, there will be problems. So there is a huge demand for an interface where the orders from Lieferando flow directly into the cash register. And we're just about to release that to our customers. And also there, you know, at least we can charge a nice amount per month just for the interface, and people are willing to pay for that. So there will be more connections also to third-party systems, because we believe we can do a certain thing, a certain part of the ecosystems by ourselves, certain part will be done by others, but the restaurant owner or the bakery owner or whatever store owner, they want to have it all integrated and all integrated with their cash register. So this is why we will have an open API that you can also subscribe to, so that third-party software development, third-party websites can also integrate with our cash register. So it's not all done by ourselves, but it's also open to third parties. But the good thing is every time we will make a little bit of money on each transaction or have a monthly fee. So that is the big differentiator to the past. Another thing that we are working on, that we have on the list, is table reservation. What you see here is the table reservation system we did for Bonvito, so we already know how to do it. But we will make a simpler one for the 95% of the other customers, because this is very sophisticated, but we believe it's overkill for the typical normal user. So there will be a simpler version that I don't want to get into details here, but a simpler version also for the restaurant owners, because we believe reservation is also a key feature. Because I mean, if you look for a restaurant online, or if you look at the website, I think it's nice if you can directly make a reservation. And so that is also something that we are going to add to our portfolio. And then not only with Bonvito for the big customers, but also a simpler version for most of the other customers. Then there's a very big field that's couponing. We know it's very popular in retail. It's becoming ever more popular today because people are looking for cheaper prices. And we do also have a lot of couponing options in Bonvito, but we also will offer some very effective and simple couponing options for smaller restaurants, because if a smaller restaurant wants to do something to promote their sales, there's not much they can do today. So we want to offer them a system where they can spread a coupon via social media, let's say in a 10-mile radius, and everybody that comes in and redeems the coupon can then get a rebate or better price or whatever. And we can automatically charge them per coupon or whatever. And this is very effective. And this is something that nobody else has at the moment. And there's also, as you can see in the second part here, some interest from the industry, especially from the food and beverage industry, that are interested in also having the option to use coupons, not only in retail, but also in hospitality, so that people can get, for example, a bottle of beer, a bottle of Coca-Cola, or whatever, at a rebate or at no price if they go into a restaurant, because they also want to drive customers into hospitality, because that's where their margins are way higher than in retail. So there's also some interest there, and that's a product group that we are planning. And we also have products for vouchers, and we have local vouchers product we have already, so that restaurants don't have to use a pen and paper to give out gift certificates or vouchers for, say, holidays or for Christmas. They can do it with a card, but this will be something that is a general nationwide card that you can redeem in a lot of restaurants. And this is something that we will be working on with partners. So it shows you that there is a lot of business models that you can add to the cash registers. And these are just the ones that are now on our radar for the next, let's say, 18 months. I think we have another 20 that we could pursue. And but the interesting thing is what's the effect of that? And we try to show it here to give you an idea where the transformation is. Because if you look at the classic model, if somebody bought a cash register from us, which still is a large part of our business, then let's say the earnings that we had were approximately 1,800 euros. And the lifetime value is about 7 years, or lifetime is about 7 years. So yeah, if you divide that, it's about 200 something euros, 210, 220 euros per year. We can increase that with our new model of software subscription. So people just buy the hardware at a lower price and then subscribe for the software. So that's already, let's say, more than doubling it. But if you add digital services, like we can see in this graph here, and this is just what we have in the pipeline right now, you can, let's say, you have more than 5 times the turnover with the same customers. And we believe that in the long term, it could be even 10 times the same turnover with the same customers. So the large installation base that Vectron has can be converted into a massive recurring revenue business. And that's what we believe is the big advantage that we have, because we have such a large installation base. With the fiscalization of the last 3 years, all of them have invested into their cash registers. They have bought new ones. They've upgraded the old ones. So they just all made an investment. So at the moment, you know, they won't change. They are stuck with the product. And our job will now be to go to all these customers that have just bought from us and offer them these extra digital services on top. So that will not happen overnight. It will take some time, but we can now already see that the digital services, with a few products that we already have, are already a substantial part of our business. We believe that this year it will be somewhere between, let's say, 9 and 10 million. Last year it was something 6-point-something million, so it's growing quite quickly. And it's just a few small products. The big ones that are really profitable are just coming. And I believe that this has not yet been recognized by the market. Unfortunately, there is also, of course, after this fiscalization that we have, there's the counter swing now that, you know, people have bought. Now, of course, the demand is lower. Plus, with all the news that we now have and the gas shortages and price spikes and everything. So, of course, not the best time at the moment for investment goods, but this tectonic shift towards the digital services is definitely happening. And there are international examples. And I mentioned the US, and we can look what happened there already 10 years ago. There are companies in the market like Square, like Toast, like Lightspeed, or others in the Anglo American markets, where you can see this model has already played out. And I don't want to show the numbers here, but I can tell you what's in the last quarterly presentation of Toast. They had 66,000 restaurants under contract. That's a little more than what we have, but still. And they made 800 million recurring revenues per year with those customers. So that shows the potential. I mean, they've been doing it for quite some time now, so they are ahead of the curve, but the same thing is going to happen here. And we believe that we can turn our customer base into a similar story. I'm not saying that this is, I mean, even if we get a fraction of that, it's a total game changer for us. And we believe that this is possible over the next few years. Will not happen overnight, will happen step by step, but is a process that, of course, is unstoppable, because the customers are demanding it. There's a new generation of store owners that are much more internet savvy than the foremost generation. So therefore, we believe that this is unstoppable, and that Vectron, being one of the largest suppliers of and owner of a large installation base, has a huge strategic value that is at the moment at least not seen by the capital markets. But what we have seen in the last 18 months is that 2 of our competitors, number 2 and number 3, have been bought up by payment companies. And those payment companies have paid significantly more, I think way more than 100 million for both of those companies, even though they are not half the size that we are. So they are understanding this, because a payment company knows that the long-term value of a customer, the long-term streams, are much more valuable than just the one-time sales of the cash register. So this is why they've been buying into cash register companies to buy those customer bases. And in the US, this has already happened. I think in 2015, the largest American payment processor, Heartland, bought about 22% of the American installed base of cash registers from 5 different companies. So they just bought up all the cash register companies for a ton of money. And we'll see what happens here. But if you want to look for evidence of what I'm saying, look at the US, look at the latest report from Toast, then you'll see where this is going. So this is basically the end of my presentation. And now I'm open to questions.
Thank you very much. Excellent presentation as always. Maybe the first question from my side, because currently I don't see any questions in the chat. Will you provide a consolidated web shop where you can see all the other restaurants where you can order food?
That's basically that's a second step. So if you have enough of these single owners using a web shop, you could consolidate them into one website. It doesn't make sense if you have only 300, but if you have 3,000, it begins to make sense, and then you automatically have something like a Lieferando 2.0. So that is of course something that we do have on our map, but it will happen as a second step. So we intend to build an app where we can integrate them. But this is not going to happen in the next 12 months or something. But in the midterm, I can see that, yes.
Okay. And you are switching to a recurring revenue-based model. What kind or how much recurring revenues will you expect over the coming years in percentage-wise?
Well, I would say that it's hard to say, but because it also depends on the swings in the one-time business. And but I think that in the next few years, it will definitely become the larger part of our business, and the one-time sales will diminish. I think that's going to happen. And this is what we can see all over the world, because the business model is switching from just buying software to renting software. Mm-hmm. And the POS market has been a little bit slow to adopt this, but this is the good thing about competition. A lot of our old competitors went out of the market, and all the new ones are all using these monthly payment models. So we are also now trying to convince our dealers to go that way. It takes a little bit of time and convincing to do that. But as we can see, just by doing that, you double the profits. So of course, it's very interesting because it's a price increase in disguise.
Yeah. And a big question from investors is always, maybe you can comment the adjustment of the guidance, and in the same term, that you were buying all the shares from your founder, Jens Reckendorf.
Yes, well, as I said, at the moment, the market that we have for cash registers, of course, is a little bit unpredictable. And there has not been anything good that has been done by the government or world politics to our target audience in the last 3 years. So, of course, it's very hard to make predictions. And this is why, let's say, we have been wrong a lot of times, because it's extremely hard to predict. You must know that, you know, with cash registers, it's not like you're a shipyard where you have orders for years. You know, in our case, these are relatively small machines for a few thousand euros. People just buy them or don't buy them. And there's not a long order pipeline or something like that. So for us, the visibility of orders is just a few weeks. That's it. So everything else is guesswork. And this is why, of course, the guessing is wrong in a lot of cases. This is also why we want to get away from the one-time sales more to these recurring sales. And now, of course, the recurring part of our business has grown quite nicely, and it needs to be more, but at least there's a very positive trend that we can see there. It's also substantial. It's not small. It's already quite nice. Good to have now that with the recession and everything, of course, in the investment mood in our target audience is of course very low. I'm sometimes surprised that anybody's buying cash registers at the moment anyway. So that is of course that is one hand. But on the other hand, I know that first of all, let's say Vectron has a strong balance sheet. We will survive all these wobbles. That's number one. And we have a strong dealer network. We have a strong brand. People know us for a long time. So we will survive this. And even if it goes bad, a lot of our competitors will go out. So it will be even better then. But what I know is that this shift towards these digital services, it's happening anyway. And especially in bad times, when the restaurant is not completely full every day, then people are more interested in online marketing and in saving costs and automating things than in good times. So I think that this shift is going to happen anyway. And this is why I'm so convinced about the future of the company, although maybe at the moment nobody else sees it. And this is why I thought it was a great opportunity at an extremely low price to buy those shares from my partner. So yeah, that's right. What I think. And everybody else is open to their own opinion. But I think by that purchase, you can see that I put my money where my mouth is.
Excellent. Excellent conclusion. We just finished on the dot. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.